So we can express these with rational exponents. So here we have x, our power is 10, our root is 5. Here we have x, the power is 8, the root is 4. Okay, so we end up with x squared here. This simplifies to x squared here. So we end up with x to the power of 4. Here we have power to power rule, so this becomes a to the power of 3, root 2, doesn't affect the root. Here we end up with a to the power of 5, root 2. Now, when we multiply radicals, the indexes have to be the same. Well, notice that the roots are the same here, which allows us to add the exponents. So we need a common denominator or a common index to add exponents. We need a common radical to be able to multiply those exponents together. So we end up with a to the power 3 over 2 plus 5 over 2. Since they have a common denominator, I'm just going to add that together, a to the power 8 over 2. And that simplifies to a to the power of 4. Here, notice that the 2 is part of the base, so we have to make sure that we apply the power to the 2. Here we have base x power 3 root 5. Okay, here we have x to the power 2 to the power 2, which is power 4. Power to power we multiply, and the base is 5. So the root is 5. Here we have x to the power 3 over 5. Now when we multiply exponents, we need the same base. So the 2 is not the same base, so it's independent. Okay, it stays on its own. The x's are all the same base, so we can multiply those together. However, when we add these exponents, we need a common denominator to add fractions. Well, they all have a root 5 denominator, or if we were thinking of them in radical terms, they all have a common radical. So we can multiply them together, or we can add the exponents together. So we have 3 plus 4 plus 3 is 10 over 5. That ratio of 10 to 5 can be simplified, so we end up with 2 to the power 3. And that simplifies to power 2. So here again we have power to power and then a root. So we have a to the power 3, power 4 is power 12. Square root is, the denominator is 2. Times a to the power 15, root 5. These are in ratio with each other, so we can simplify that. Same with 12 and 2. This becomes a to the power 4. Now we should really simplify those fractions first. The ratio of 12 to 2 becomes 6. 15 to 5 becomes a to the power 3. And we end up with over a to the power 4. So we have power 9 divided by power 4. Well, times and divide cancel, so we end up with 9 times 4 divide, so we end up with an extra 5 in the multiply, so we end up with a plus 5 exponent.